I'm Autumn Ivy, and of course, we're just gonna do a quick update because it's been a while. I'm working on this coming 2025 on some new stuff. You guys are gonna notice some changes. If you are over at any of the exclusive sections of officialautumnivy.com, I am making some adjustments. I feel like I want to make that... Everything's fine. It's good. We're fine. I didn't spill it, but I'm definitely moving it because I absolutely will spill it. I want to make it very clear that I don't think that the quality I've been putting out is bad. I think that it was good quality for what I had available to me in the timeline that I had the items available. I have obviously taken time to invest in myself. And for those of you out there that want to be voice actors or want to do acting or things like that, when I, and fitness too, when I tell you to take time to invest in yourself, what I'm talking about is I notice a lot of new voice actors or new creators especially, they will spend a wild amount of fucking money on like strange things and then try to go for big line jobs. Specifically shifting my view to voice acting, for example, what I notice is a lot of people will shotgun themselves to be like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. And then they get, you know, a decent mic, decent, right? You start off small. It's totally okay to start off with a lower priced item, you know, or a lower priced microphone. I did. I started with what was it, a snowball? I think I started with a snowball. But my point is starting with simple things is okay. When I say invest in yourself, especially for voice acting, if you're trying to start to go for more professional jobs, right? So like independent games or animations, right? You want to sound your best. So as you start to get income from this thing, whether it's a side job you do in side time next to, you know, your career, or like you're trying to get that way to be a career, you have to take that money and invest in yourself. I hate to say this, and I know a lot of people don't maybe feel the same way, because you can do a lot with a little. I want to make that clear. I was dirt poor. You can do a lot with a little, but I would like to point out that being able to invest in yourself with the income that you're receiving from those smaller jobs as you're continuing to grow, so that you can start to pitch yourself for higher PFH, which for narrations means per finished hour, or, you know, for higher rates as a voice actor or whatever, right? To be able to do that, though, you have to prove your quality. For artists, especially digital artists, or even, you know, regular medium artists, depending, you have to invest in your product, right? So you have to buy canvases. You have to get, if your drawing pad takes a shit, you have to get a new one. If the pen doesn't work anymore, you got to get a new one. If the technology shifts, which is part of the problem with voice acting or acting or anything like that, you eventually have to step up. Yeah, and digital can be. Anything related to electronics is tits, but that's my point, right? So for me, I invested in some new lighting rigs. Which I'm very grateful, because a few of you, Trixie, Ray, you guys have been amazing in trying to support you know, getting some of these items, and I appreciate that sincerely, because they've been immensely helpful. But I'm also working towards trying to utilize these new items and learn them so that the quality of things can go up. So those of you that are on the exclusive spots, you're going to start to notice some things changing. I'm not taking stuff away from you, but I am going to start to reevaluate the delivery of things, because part of my promise to myself is I do want to do things, obviously, that my audience likes to consume. I want to make sure that there is give and take between you guys as my audience and as, you know, I hate the word fans, but I guess I have to use it, as a legion, right? Like, I want to make sure that you guys are getting stuff that you really love and enjoy. And part of that means that sometimes I have to find someone, a character or something that you guys are super fucking down for and really into, that I also can agree to, because part of my rule as a costumer or a cosplayer is I won't do a character simply because they're popular. It's I won't. And there is nothing wrong, because there's a lot of people that do. There are a lot of cosplayers, a lot of costumers, a lot of creators that they go and they do something because it's balls to the wall and it's the coolest shit ever and it's super popular right now. And that's great. That's totally fucking great if that is your metric, right? I've never really been that way. Every so often, though, I find a character where I'm like, holy fuck, I'm so down. For example, Marvel Rivals right now is hella popular, right? Squirrel Girl got released and everybody blew the fuck up about Squirrel Girl. It was all about Squirrel Girl. Look at that Squirrel Girl. I have no desire to do Squirrel Girl. And even outside of Marvel Rivals as a comic fan, I've never been super balls deep into Squirrel Girl. She's cool. I'm not down, right? And if you're in it for Squirrel Girl, I'm good for you. Like, I'm so baller for you. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do the costume. I don't care. I don't like her enough to care to. And maybe I'll make an exception. I like her. I just don't care for her, right? Even though I've had a lot of people who have bounced back and been like, oh my god, can you do Squirrel Girl? And I'm like, she cute, but On the other hand, I know that there are some Widow skins coming out, and I played Widow. I decided that, like, Widow was good for me because that's a metric that I felt better for, right? And hold on, stay with me. I promise that I'm getting there. It's relevant. It's fucking relevant. I know that there's a couple skins for Widow coming out. I was good with Widow, so I might very well shift and do some Widow stuff, right? Also, side note, can we talk about her ass in the white outfit? Wait, hear me out. I know how I sound. Stay with me. Her ass in the white outfit? Bruh. Natasha. Miss Romanoff. I sound so bad right now. I took the time to see the comparison between her in her, like, black cat suit and then the white cat suit or bodysuit, whatever you want to fucking call it. Like, if you compare, her ass is bigger in the, wait, where's my license? This is the wrong license, but I have a permit. I have a permit to be horny on Maine. Her ass in the white outfit is so big compared to the other one. All right? I looked. Fingernail. It's bigger. Okay. My point, though, it makes me want to do the costume. That aside, I know that there's some discussion around a couple of characters coming out for Marvel, so you very well could see me sinking time into those. With that said, for content release, so again, those of you who are exclusive subscribers for anything across the board for officialautumnivy.com, whether it's the spice or the not or whatever, anything under that exclusive sections, I think I'm going to kind of go back to the concept of releasing like a regular set, like a clothes set of some kind, and I'll let you guys vote on maybe the topics. So, like, in the kitchen, like, I almost kind of want to do it like we're playing Clue, right? So I think it would be fun if we did it Clue style, where it's like, in the kitchen with random object and denim shorts, and then come up with something fun. Autumn in the barn with a door, right? So Autumn with a steel chair, it's Hell in a Cell. So more IRL shoots that you guys can kind of play with involvement with. I really want to be able to give you guys more involvement with the things that we're doing. Being able to do that, though, I think would be a lot of fun. And when it comes to costumes, I really do want to focus more on builds and putting more effort in, because I have a lot of costumes on my register. I mean, this is kind of a thing, but, like, those are my builds right now, right? So I still have to finish Pyramid Head. I still have to sew the stuff for Robin. I've got Pixie, Wolf Head, which is a fursuit, and then my Unicorn, who is my OC. Pyramid Head is virtually finished, technically. But I still have to do his smock and do the Great Knife. And I just haven't... I haven't been motivated. I haven't felt creative. I've been in this really shitty rut. And it's been hard because that affects the things that I love or the things that I want to do. It can be difficult. And a lot of you guys, well, no, and I don't want to make this like a poor pity me. Like, let me be clear. This isn't about that. It's, yeah, well, and it really is. Part of it is seasonal depression. And I also am diagnosed major depressive disorder. Like, my brain does brain stuff sometimes. And it's worse when, you know, you've got a couple of things that just kind of compile. I'm going to be completely level and honest with you guys. I'm having a hard time for multiple reasons. I feel like I'm in a creative rut. I think that I've got a lot of things mentally that I'm trying to unpack. I started doing kind of a self-therapy for a type of therapy I didn't even know existed. But I went and I bought a workbook, and I bought the doctor's book itself for this type of therapy, and I started doing that with Ellis. And that also is gonna kind of allot for some different stuff. Roxy, my 15-year-old Dachshund, as you guys know, had a seizure a little ways back. I now have reason to believe that it was not just a single seizure. I think that it was a seizure that was onset, but I also believe that she also had a stroke. She did get put on medication, and the reason I'm telling you guys this is because since the end of September, she staved off a little bit. It seemed like it was getting better. And then as time began to pass, it became like, and I say strokes because when you seize, it's a little different, or when a dog seizes, it's a little bit different. And neurologically, she's kind of losing part of her mobility on one side, and she's affected mostly on one side, which there's a lot to it. The doctor also, the vet, let us also know that there was reason to believe that it wasn't just related to, a standard stroke or epilepsy in a dog that old. And that the possibility of a brain tumor is always there. She does have a little bit of like an eye issue, and that has gotten worse the longer this has gone on. So the brain tumor issue is possible. So over the last little bit, the strokes are getting worse, and they're also getting more consistent. And over the last month, it went from like once a week or so, or every other week. Like, it wasn't as intermittent. It was kind of intermittent. And now it's like 1 to 2 every 3 to 4 days. And most recently, within the last week, it's been 1 to 2 every like 2 to 3 days. It sucks because I know she's older, but it also starts to come down to a point of like, what is reasonable for her well-being. So I now am faced, and polite reminder, I've had her since she was 4. She came to me because she couldn't be around newborns or babies. I've had her a very long time, and she, next to Immortal, was a heart dog for me. You know, I was not in a good place when I got her, and she's my buddy, you know. And having to realize that that it is not in her best interest for her. It's just not good for her. It's hard to have that conversation. and also to kind of sit back because, and I know some of you maybe have dealt with this. It's like the idea that we're basically playing God with this concept of like, when do you decide to make those decisions to let them just, be? And do you, or does that matter? And I don't want that to be me. I don't want to be the person who doesn't make the call in the right timeline, in the right way, because I don't want to lose her. And it's like, at what point do you do you make that call? So I've had a lot of stuff really going on, and I'm sorry. I also made a promise that while I was going through all of the personal stuff on the back end, which everybody's got something, right? Like, life happens. Family stuff happens. The stuff with her is happening. And I also am having to have some really hard introspective conversations with myself that are related to this self-therapy that I'm doing. And it means changing and uprooting and allowing for, and bear with me, like, it's getting grossly poetic, but like, it's allowing for things to die, metaphorically and somewhat literally, but it's allowing for things to die peacefully and lovingly. And in turn, while that is going on internally and somewhat externally, also allowing space for things to grow and to blossom and to be beautiful and to be the things that they naturally can be. It is, yeah, Trixie's completely correct. It's pruning, right? You can't let your garden get too overgrown. Sometimes you have to prune it, and sometimes it's healthier for, the flowers to be pruned, and then they come back even more beautiful than before. And what that means for this update, because I'm kind of rambling at this point, I guess. I've been going on for a minute. Basically what that means for me is that I will be adjusting the way that I approach things, situations, my job, this streaming. I'm making some changes, and I want you guys to know that I never want to be the person who isn't there in the way that I can show up for you. I know that a lot of you came to me and became part of this whole fiasco of like Legion and so on, because it was a place where you could be you, and you understood that there was a welcome space for that. I don't like using the phrase safe space, because at any point things or people can unfortunately invite themselves into those spaces, and even though they can be very quickly managed, it doesn't mean that there can't still be some damage that occurs. All we can do is prepare and understand and treat each other and ourselves as best and as lovingly as we can, and work towards that betterment with one another, standing side by side. That is what this has always been. And the fact that you guys have been here and supportive and amazing means so fucking much. I want to be able to reflect on everything that's happened, and really what I would like to see from myself going forward, especially with it soon to be a new year. And a lot of people are doing the new year, new me shit, right? And I think that's great. But I also think that you don't need a new year to make those decisions. You don't need new year, new me to make those decisions. I do think it's easier for people on the rotational calendar concept to be like, all right, we're fucking doing it, bud. And that's great. Like, if that's you, I'm not going to knock you for that, because you made the decision, you took the step. Whether it's health, mental health, going to the gym, cleaning your house, taking care of, your body, whatever that looks like. I just want to, I guess, make the point that all of that is something that you guys have the ability to do. And creatively, I'm planning on adjusting the costumes. I want big builds. I have obviously, I'm calling them Fear Trap, I've decided. I figured maybe if I gave them a name, that it would put me in a position to actually get on board and finish him. But I have to get through this list of other costumes before I do it. But Fear Trap is a really big build that I have been planning for the last couple months. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I've been planning on a stylistic version of Springtrap that is a more very like R-rated horror version of Springtrap. But Fear Trap is what I would like to call him, because he is intended to be something that you would see at like a, you know, at like a horror attraction, a haunt or something. And the build itself is pretty nasty. But a lot of the stuff I'm planning for that suit includes my digigrade legs, which are the stilts. It also includes a lot of like manufacturing with stuff I don't have any knowledge base of, so I have to go in and learn that. I'm learning like animatronic engineering and a lot of other stuff. So there's a lot to what I'm planning. And fursuit building, unironically, also fits into this because I have to be able to manufacture the head. So, I understand that I sometimes get put in this weird little pocket hole of like, well, you can't possibly be a real cosplayer because, like, you buy costumes and you throw on slutty outfits and that's just what you do. And it's like, all right, man, if you want to label me that way, that's cool. I mean, I have no hate towards anybody who does that. Like, if you feel good, rock out. But I do sometimes get kind of fallen out on that weird, judgy bullshit from other costumers sometimes, too. In which case, just because I don't constantly, like, I'm not pumping out one costume every month doesn't mean that I'm not capable, or that I don't sew, or that I don't create, or I don't build armor. It just means I like to take my time. And the whole point of cosplay is costume and play combined into one word, and to have a good time and to enjoy it. That's it. But I would like to start to challenge myself this coming year for costumes and for things that I really want to do. I would like to do the new version of Ciri. Obviously, you know, I did Femme Geralt back then. I saw the way that Ciri gracefully and beautifully has aged and just looks like a complete fucking badass. I would like to focus on that, but I made a promise to myself not to let my brain go, oh, shiny, and then shoot off the opposite fucking direction, because that is what I am so good at doing. I'm making a promise to myself to try to commit to things, or at least start them, instead of buying a pile of shit and just keeping it in my house until I, you know, wake up one day and decide that that's what we're doing. TLDR, new content is coming. I'm going to make some adjustments to the content, and I will definitely make an official announcement once everything is, like, organized and labeled. I am committing towards one costume build a month in relation to whether it's a simple costume or it's an actual build, but in terms of large builds, so this would be things like Wolfhead or Fear Trap, or anything that might take me a significant amount of time. Karlach included, right? So I do need to do some adjustments and some repairs on Karlach, for example. I also will be going to some conventions on the East Coast. I know a lot of you requested for me to pop that direction, so I am pleased to announce that there will be some East Coast conventions that you should be able to catch me at. Right now, my current schedule is updated on autumnivy.com, so if you'd like to see where I will be so far, I did update that, and that does include AVN in Vegas at the end of January. And then I also will be headed to MagicCon, so I'm going a couple of spots. Super long story made incredibly short and condensed. I will be making changes to costumes. I am planning one really large build, which Fear Trap is that build for now. Eventually, Ellis and I did discuss trying to do Send DT for Devil May Cry. That also will be a rather large build and very time consuming. So, yeah. And then, of course, Accounts from a Lonely Broadcast Station, also known as A Lonely Broadcast, did come out in audiobook form and is still available at kelbyron.com. So you guys are able to pick that up. I have some new game releases for voices that I've done coming in this coming year as well. Both spicy and regular, so keep your eyes out for those. And hopefully there's some more film stuff coming up soon too. So there's just a lot. But I am doing the best I can, and I just want you guys to know that I am very appreciative. And even though there are a lot of things I'm working through right now, I'm just glad that you're still around and you're still supportive. I'm trying to keep streaming more consistent, which is why I forced myself to make a schedule. I know that the spicy games has been kind of difficult, but that's why I put maybe. I am trying really hard to commit at least once a week. And then, of course, streaming 2 or 3 times a week. That's where we're at. It's going to be random shit. Vlogs are coming for YouTube also, because I neglected that. For narrations, I do want to do the Five Nights books. I know that was asked for. I also will start narrating again. It's just really hard because I do have a lot of stuff narration-wise. For those of you that maybe missed that part, I do also narrate novels. There's a lot of dark romance under my name, but because I professionally narrate novels, I sometimes get gummed up doing that instead of being able to post for YouTube. Because again, remember, views pay pennies on the dollar for me. I don't make a lot of money from that. You guys supporting with donations or tips or buying merch or, stuff like that, that's extremely appreciated. But that's really where that support comes from. Otherwise, I have to commit to what's reasonable for me. I do have some new narrations that will be committed to upcoming audiobooks. I apologize. You can't find a lot of them on Audible. If you literally Google Autumn Ivy Audible, you'll pull up a list of Audible books available that I've done. I also have some more on the way. Matter of fact, actually, I don't know if Aiden's still in the chat, but Aiden is a very, very lovely and amazing author that I had the pleasure of doing an audiobook for. And I believe that one is on that list too. So yeah, if you guys are super into that, that's the way to go. Otherwise, I'm working on it piece by piece as we go along. So yeah, definitely. But all of that stuff is at officialautumnivy.com for all of my links. Please make sure that you're following me everywhere. And then, of course, all of my other work and merch and updates are going to be at autumnivy.com. But yeah, new stuff. I'm going to start releasing new merch once a month, so keep your eyes open. There's some really fucking cool artists. And one of them actually, Pokelude, just did a really cool art piece, and I actually paid them to allow me to use it on merch. And they were so fucking chill about it. That said, that's what I've got for announcements. But yeah, you guys are fantastic. Let's go for it.